Hi, and happy October to all 100 of my happy scribblers. I hope that your summer has been lovely and full of fun, as mine has been. And that being said, I was more than ready to get into the mood for fall. So this is going to be a fall-themed spread, and I hope that you enjoy watching me do it and maybe following along with me as much as I enjoyed creating it. So let's get started. So you can see I had already sketched out this twisting road scene with trees crowding in on both sides and some mountains in the background with the blue sky above. So I'm just starting out with what I would call color blocking, and I am putting in all the main colors where they're going to be and not worrying about the details yet. So first off, I'm starting with the greens and dark greens. You can see it's quite watered down. Like I said, don't worry about that yet. I am just placing the colors in their places, and I'm also thinking about what will be where, what will be overlapping what, and trying to choose the trees that are going to be a little bit more towards the background to start out, so that I can do the ones that are in the foreground afterwards. So as you can see, I chose some really bright and bold colors. I didn't want it to be subtle. I wanted it to scream fall and fall leaves and just be strong and bold. Oh yes, I haven't mentioned yet that I'm doing this with my gouache paints, as I knew I wanted something very, very bold, and I knew it would be much easier to achieve that with gouache than with watercolors. So I want to let the layers dry before I do the things that are next to them. So I went ahead and did the mountains, and gouache does dry pretty quickly, which is super convenient. But while those last trees dry, I am moving on to the road. And I don't know what you think, but oh my goodness, I was in love with the way that the road turned out. I was worried it would dry a little more powdery looking or something, and I'm just so happy that it turned out to have that super dark, black, intense look to it, like as if it was a brand new road. I really, really like that about it. Okay, so down to the last couple trees, and to adding in other little dimensions, slightly darker shades of leaves on top of the existing ones to finish it off and make sure that all those little spaces are filled up. And then here we are stenciling on October, and I called that done. So I'm going to take the tape off, and we will move on to our calendar page. So as you can see, I had already sketched that out, and then I just went over my lines in pen. And then with my very fine brush pen, I am adding in some aspen tree trunks here on either side of my calendar. And then on the trunks, I'm just adding little lines randomly here and there in little clusters to simulate that aspen look. So after adding in the days of the week at the top of the calendar, I mixed yellow ochre with a tiny little bit of burnt sienna, and I diluted it pretty well with water. And then what I'm doing is on alternating sides of the trunks, I am painting that up and then just smearing it with a finger, and actually not filling in all of the trunk area with the color because I wanted to leave it with a little bit of a splotchy look. So once we're done with the tree trunks, I use the same color to do the border around the calendar, and also the more pigmented version of it to dab leaves in here and there, layering in different colors and different shades of browns and yellows with slight maroon tones in there as well, until the leaves looked how I wanted them to. And for this month, the verse that I chose, it was Job 42:2. It says, "I know that you can do all, and no purpose is withheld from you." I thought that that was a wonderful thing to remember throughout the month, and I actually really love the book of Job, especially the last few chapters are probably some of my favorite chapters in the entire Bible. I highly recommend reading through them if you're looking for something that is just super inspiring, humbling, and grounding, I guess, spiritually. So for the next spread, it is going to have a painted scene, and it's near and dear to my heart, this one is, because it is actually what I envision someday as far as a homestead to live on and to raise my daughters on. I just kind of painted what I have in my heart on this page, and so more or less, without too many details, this is what I can imagine, and it's what I hope for in the future someday. So I have a nearby tree in the foreground that is up close, and then a trail that dips down behind the hill and then rises up again farther on with the house to the side, some scattered trees, and there are some not too far off hills behind the house, kind of mountain tops. And so once again, I am just layering those in and then letting the layers dry before I add in the layer that is directly next to it. I wanted to get the color of the dirt correct because it's a specific color, and so I used the same combination of the yellow ochre with the burnt sienna, but this time I went heavier on the burnt sienna, and it turned out perfect. It looks exactly like the dirt that is in the area, and I love it. So here it is all done, and I stick glued it down onto the paper and then laid this leather journal on top of it for a few minutes while I started on the next page so that the glue would bond well, because I find that a lot of times the stick glue, if you don't do this with larger pieces of paper, it'll pop back up. And anyways, so I had 4 leaves actually traced out from the leaves that I have laying around on the table, and I'm going to paint them all and then cut them out. Okay, so what we did is we painted the box and then we stick glued it down just on the sides and the bottom. And with our cutout leaves, I wrote down mini calendars on the back with each habit written above it that I would like to track for the month. And I also wrote in habits above that with the yellow, the maroon, and the green in my Primrosea brush pens. So with our third spread done, we are flipping over to this final spread of the month setup, and that is going to be a simple page for menu and goals. And I'm just showing you how adorable these little clothespins are. I love clothespins, especially wooden ones and especially mini ones. And I was also showing you how messy my paint palette got. It is just such a mess, but it's like a beautiful mess. So first, I just painted in some acorns and some brown leaves and some little mushrooms there at the center bottom. And I used those same tones again of the yellow orc and the burnt sienna, and I just mixed them to get the tone that I desired for these things. It works so well. And then I used one of my brush pens to do the stems. Quick and easy. These little mushrooms are actually some that pop up in my garden all the time, but they don't actually have the little red dots. I just added those because I like the red dots. And then there's a little rock with moss on it in the corner, and I will fill in the labels for the top of the pages, and that is just about these spreads done as I leave the space, most of it anyways, for filling in later throughout the month with the menu, of course, and with my goals and progress made on the goals. I am just realizing right now that I forgot to add white highlights onto the bottom part of the acorns. That would just give it that extra special little touch, and I forgot to do that in the moment, so I'll have to do that later on. And sticking with the same color theme, I used the green to add in the the numbers for the month for the menu, and that is the last spread for the month. So I need to explain what I'm going to be doing for the month of October as far as my dailies go, as I am not making a layout per se or anything like that, but I am going to be participating in Inktober, where each day I'm going to do a little piece of art on that daily page just in ink. So it can be different colors of ink or just black ink, it doesn't matter. But I started off with the simple little puppy. And just like that, we are done and doing our final flip through. So there's the cover page and then the calendar page. I just I've tried to do different things with the calendar page, but I love having the big boxes to fill in each day, so I inevitably always go back to that. Here's my habits page. I love the look of it. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you liked the colors, was it too early for a fall theme? I don't know, I just couldn't wait. I love fall. I think it's my favorite season. And then the menu and the goals. This went by so fast because I had so much fun doing it, and I'm so much looking forward to doing my dailies with Inktober, different sketches every day. I hope you guys all have the most wonderful, blessed month. As always, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video. Bye!